With the introduction of the all-new 2014 Toyota Corolla, is the 2010 Toyota Corolla S still a good option on the used vehicle market? Well, let's take a look and find out. My particular example today, like I said, is a 2010 Toyota Corolla S. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and start it up and let it run, and we'll take a look at the interior and the exterior, and we'll take it on a quick little test drive. So here's the key for the Corolla. It's not a very pretty key, I have to say, and I do apologize for any wind interference. It's incredibly windy today, but it's just not a very pretty key. This is used all across the Toyota lineup. You have your lock, unlock, release, and panic functions. So we'll go ahead and unlock it, and fortunately it does use the beeper instead of the annoying little horn that this car has. And then to start it, all you need to do is insert the key into the ignition and twist to start. As you can see, the gauges do a nice little sweep, and what you're hearing is Toyota's 1.8 liter inline 4-cylinder, but we'll go over more of that in the engine portion of the video. So for now, let's go ahead and turn on the automatic headlights. Fog lights are already on, as well as the hazards, and we'll check out the exterior. It does come equipped with an automatic down driver's side window, but it's not auto up, which is a strange omission in my opinion. Now, taking a look at this generation Corolla, it's a very conservative design, and Toyota definitely did not take any risks with it. It's just a very vanilla design. It's basically a baby little Camry, and they do favor quite a bit. So starting off, taking a look, you can see this one is finished in a rather nice looking white color. It needs some wax though. You do have gray and black pinstriping running down the sides of the vehicle, and they are actually painted on, and they're not little stickers. Body color mirrors, no LED turn signals on the mirrors, which is a strange omission. You do have body colored door handles and a ding on the edge of the door that I just now noticed. Again, body colored door handles back here. Here's your fuel filler lid. You release that from down on the floor inside the car. I'll show you where that is too. It's right here. You just pull up on this and it releases, and we'll go ahead and pop the trunk as well. Just pull up on that. You can see here's your fuel filler door. It is pretty nasty in there, but you do have a nice place to put your gas cap to keep it from swinging and scratching up the paint. Coming around to the back, you can see you just have your standard Corolla stuff back here, your chrome Corolla badge, chrome Toyota badge, and your S badge right here. And actually, I won't be able to open up the trunk right now because I have it locked, because my school stuff with my computer and all that is in there. But once I get the key, I'll definitely be sure and show you. You do have reflectors down here, and part of the S package is, you can see this rear fascia. But one thing I don't like is it's split, and I don't necessarily see why it has to be. Also, with the S package, you do get a chrome tipped single exhaust outlet, and then your S badge there, obviously. Taking a look at the rims, we have 205/55 R16s wrapped in Firestone Firehawk tires. They're actually pretty good tires, fairly grippy. Can't really complain about them at all. And I think they are brand new. This car has about 30,000 miles on it, so I would assume these are new tires. You also have some of the ground effects kit over here as well, which is, I think it's kind of cheesy looking, but it almost fits the Corolla in a way, just because the Corolla is not a shouty in-your-face car. So this kind of gives it a little bit of style and edge to it. You can see you have your halogen turn signals, halogen headlamps, and your halogen high beams there in the middle, and these also serve as your daytime running lights during the day. You also have some ground effects kit going around down here as well, and your fog lamps down below. And I believe this mesh grille is specific to the S model, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I'd have to check, and if any of you know, feel free to correct me. Then you have an S badge up there as well, and then another grille right down there. So that's a pretty aggressive looking front end for a little car, especially with the ground effects kit. If you don't have the S package, It is a little bland, I have to say, but I mean, it's not a bad looking little car. You do have front disc brakes and rear drums, so that is nice. The brakes are kind of mushy though, but it's okay. We'll go ahead and open up the hood and see what she has. And then coming around to the front, just find this little tab, lift up on it, and lift up on the hood. Now what you're looking at and hearing tick away is Toyota's 1.8 liter inline 4-cylinder. Features dual variable valve timing with intelligence. A pretty clean looking engine. I like that they have an engine cover on it instead of it just being raw. And the battery does seem to have a good bit of corrosion on there, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. I won't mess with it. I mean, your air intake's at a very odd position over there too. But pretty quiet running engine, pretty smooth at idle, but when you get on it, it is pretty buzzy. No hood liner, which I find is a strange omission. And then to close the hood, all you need to do is just release like that. It does sound kind of hollow, I have to say, but it's okay. So, we'll go ahead and take a look at the interior of the Corolla. And first thing we'll do is turn on a little bit of air conditioning, seeing it is about 75 degrees out today, kind of toasty. So starting off, taking a look at the top of the door, materials up here are all hard to the touch. Everything inside the Corolla is a hard plastic material, which I don't necessarily mind in some places, but I do have issues with it in others. So starting off, top of the door, hard touch. This is hard touch as well. Silver painted plastic for your door handle. Rather strange design door handle as well. Again, more hard plastic. The only soft to the touch portion of this interior is on the doors right here. You do have a vinyl area, and it does seem to be receding a little bit. Silver painted plastic over here. Power window locks, power door locks, power windows, and power mirrors are located right up here by your traction control switch. You do have some tweeters up here in the door. It has a pretty decent stereo in it, I have to say. I don't think it's a JBL unit, but it does sound pretty good, especially for a little economy car. So coming up, fit and finish up here, you can see is not the greatest. I can actually fit my finger down in there. I don't want to pop that out because this isn't my car. Top of the dash, materials up here are hard to the touch, every single one of them. And this right here sounds especially cheap, and I can actually pull my fingernail up underneath here and pop this whole silver trim off right here. But I'm not going to do that, because again, it's not my car, not my place. Over here, everything hard touch. You do get a dual-tiered glove box though, so that is a pretty neat feature. I love dual-tiered glove boxes. They're just interesting to me. Pretty nice amount of storage up here. Not really sure what you could get in there, but maybe like some pens and pencils, iPod, something like that. And then coming down here, this lid is semi-damped, and you do have a pretty chunky owner's manual in there, and it's a rather decently sized glove box, I have to say. Not bad at all. So coming to the center stack, you can see you have your dual air vents up here, hazard controls. Stereo, like I said, it sounds really good, but I won't be able to demonstrate it due to copyright issues. You do have all your, well, most of your modern sources. The only thing it's missing is USB and Bluetooth, but that's okay. You do have an auxiliary input right down here, and that's what I've been using. You can see I have my little life-proof connector on there. Radio display right here, it's just a dot matrix display. You can see that's how it looks, and then when the headlights are on, I believe it lights up orange. I'm not 100% sure though, we'll see. You have all your controls right here. I believe it's a single CD slot, AM, FM, satellite radio, and then your disc or your auxiliary, which auxiliary is right down here like I said. Here you have your HVAC controls right here. Very simple, but one thing I don't like is you can hear it clunking around in the dashboard. I think that's a little cheap. 4 fan speed control, very simple, very nice. I like it. I do like the simplicity of this car. I definitely respect it. Then your simple temperature over here. Again, auxiliary input. I've said that like 5 times. This is a Toyota clock from the 1980s, and I kid you not, this thing has been around since the 1980s. You have a little dead button over here, not really sure what it's for. You do have a passenger airbag sensor as well. Flipping up this little thing behind the shifter, you have a 12-volt power outlet down there, a little storage area, but it's not an ashtray. And then coming to your shifter, it's just Toyota's typical removable shift knob. You're all familiar with this. It is a 4-speed automatic transmission with low gear selection. So drive is 4th gear, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. So it's not too bad. We'll go over how to get the best out of this transmission in the test drive portion. Your emergency brake is located right over here with Lord knows what down there. Dual cup holders right here with stuff in them, empty water bottle and sonic receipt. Looking at the seats, they are pretty well appointed. You do have black leather with gray suede insertions. I really like the suede, it kind of holds you in well. It's pretty comfortable. Actually, the seats in here are very comfortable, but they are manual adjusting. Your sliding is located down here, and then you have seat height and seat recline over here. And I'm not feeling a lumbar support adjustment, but it has plenty of lumbar support for me. Looking at the steering wheel, it is leather wrapped. You have your volume controls, more multifunction controls over here. Take a listen to the horn of this thing. Pretty wimpy little horn, I have to say. I'm not really sure that's going to get anybody's attention. Here's your turn signals and your headlights over here, but one thing I do miss is the tap for 3 blinks. I think that should be a must on all cars because it's just so convenient and it's easy to do for the automakers. And then coming over here, you can see you have your standard wiper stalks right here, or your standard wiper stalk, and then you just push down to turn them on to go faster. They are pretty low powered wipers though. So that about no, it doesn't. Coming up to the rear view mirror, it is not auto dimming. You just have to flip this little tab here, which I don't really like. And then you have your very basic interior lighting. Sun visors, also very basic. You do get a mirror, but no vanity light, and it is receding over here. You can kind of see where the bubble is. And then I have all my junk mounted on this. Same thing for the passenger side. You do have oh no handles on all 4 doors, and they are damp, so they won't slam up into the paper towel headliner. And then you have another interior light right over here. I have it set on door mode. Seat belts, they are adjustable, looking over here, so that is a nice feature. I'm glad that that is included. I like adjustable seat belts quite a lot. So that about concludes the front half of the car, so let's go ahead and shut it down and listen to that very, very nice chime. I don't really like the chime of it, honestly, it's terrible. It sounds like a microwave saying enjoy your meal. But we'll go ahead and hop around into the back seat. Doors do sound pretty solid for an economy car, I have to say. And then getting into the back seat, one of the first things that you'll notice is it has a very high seating position back here. Looking out over the dashboard, you do have a pretty nice view, so that is very nice. I like that. As far as room goes, there's actually plenty of room back here, especially seeing as how small this little car is. You can see I have just enough knee room to sit behind myself at about 6 foot tall. Dual mat pockets. This seat, I believe, is all the way back, so there's not a whole lot of room over here. Flipping these out reveals some pretty flimsy cup holders, but I can see these breaking very quickly. But hey, at least they include them back here for you. No power outlet and no air vents back here, but this is a small car. You can just stretch cords and the air will come through. Materials on the door, exactly the same. And then you have the vinyl over here and the silver painted plastic, and you do have a little bit of storage down there as well. Fit and finish back here is actually pretty good. Honestly, it's not bad at all. There's a little bit of a gap right there, so not necessarily a fan of that. No center armrest in the Corolla, which I find to be another strange omission. Not really sure why they did that. I think they could have very easily put one in here, but I guess they did it for cost sake. But we'll go ahead and take a look at the trunk of the Corolla. And it's actually a pretty big trunk for such a small little car. Like I said, I have it locked, so I'll have to stick the key in here and twist it. And you can actually release the trunk 3 ways: with the little lever I showed you inside the car, with this, or with this button here on the key. You do have just standard hinges that will crush your cargo, so you do have to be mindful of that. But you have pretty good amount of storage back here. I have my backpack back here. It's not a very deep trunk, but it is nice and wide. You do have a nice little plastic removable storage tray over here. And then your spare tire and all the tools necessary to change it are down there. Obviously, it's a cheap little donut. Rear seats do fold down also by pulling on these pins. Comes exclusive with leaves. And you have an emergency release pin right there as well. Taking a look at the rear spoiler, you do have an LED mounted, or an LED third brake light, so that's a pretty nice feature. And a very loose license plate. So with that said, let's go ahead and mount up some cameras and take it for a test drive. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started on this sunny Tuesday afternoon. And like I said, what you're hearing is Toyota's 1.8 liter inline 4-cylinder engine. And it is paired to a 4-speed automatic transmission, which is honestly pretty dated. But we'll go over a little more of that here in a little bit. One of the first things you'll notice is how touchy the gas pedal on the Corolla is. It is a very, very touchy little gas pedal. And first gear is geared very short. So that, I guess they did that to aid in acceleration. But it honestly could be a little bit taller. It's quick enough off the line, but it definitely is, the transmission needs to be reworked. But other than the transmission, driving the Corolla really isn't all that bad of an experience. It's fairly capable in the twisties. You can see going around this corner here. It's actually pretty capable. It is a little bit roly-poly, but this is not a performance car, and it's not geared to be that way by any stretch of the imagination at all. So it's, it gets the job done handling-wise. Ride comfort, hitting that bump right there, that was a manhole cover that sticks up out of the ground. The front end handles the bumps very well, but the back end with the semi-independent torsion beam suspension, it does kind of crash over bumps, but it's not too terrible. I would imagine that it would be pretty noticeable to the rear passengers, but it's pretty good. It's not bad at all. I'm sufficiently pleased with it. So it's a pretty little capable car to drive. It's not bad, and it's definitely not as terrible as the automotive world makes them out to be. Honestly, they're decent, and they're cheap, reliable, simple transportation. And what more could you ask for, really? We'll go ahead and get on it here a little bit. My foot is hard to the floor. To 60 miles an hour, and you can see it definitely takes its sweet little time getting up to 60. First gear acceleration, pretty quick, feels pretty punchy, but once it drops into second, it really falls off a cliff. So what I like to do is I like to take manual control of the transmission, because I feel like it's a little more capable and a little more eager to deliver its power when you're controlling it, instead of having the transmission's computer run it. So that's something I kind of like to do, and I'll demonstrate that here on this next little bit. But interior noise, you could tell back there we were on a fairly rough road surface, and it really was, it wasn't what I'd call quiet, but it was definitely bearable. You could hold a conversation in here running 75 to 80 miles an hour on the highway without any problem, I'm sure. And then for piddling around town, it's a really good car. It's really good at just kind of tootling around town and going to Walmart and wherever else you go. So it's a great little around town car, and it's really not bad on the highway either. I haven't really had this one up to highway speeds, seeing as how I've only had it for a day and haven't needed to. But it feels like it would be perfectly happy. But I'll go ahead and kind of show you what it's like when I take control of the transmission myself. And that was 60 there at about maybe half throttle, and it felt a lot more perky and responsive. It felt it felt a lot more eager to deliver its power. Steering feel, I believe this is a hydraulic unit, so steering feel is actually pretty good, believe it or not. It's a very easy car to drive, but there is a little bit of play in the wheel. You can kind of see I'm wiggling it around there, not a whole lot's happening. And I don't know if that's to compensate for when it's windy like it is today or what, but it's a pretty, there is a good 3/4 inches of play in the steering wheel, I would say. But besides that, the steering's really good. Throttle, like I said, is really touchy, especially in first gear. Brakes are really mushy. There's probably about 1.5 inches of flat spot travel before anything really happens, and then once they grab really hard. So you can see, you can't really see, but from what I'm saying, you could probably understand that you kind of have to brake this car a little differently than you would any other car, just because it's a lot more, it's not quite as responsive in the braking department. It's just not that way. Interior comfort is really good. These seats in here are surprisingly comfortable. They do feel a tiny bit narrow. They feel kind of like they're squishing my butt. They're pushing it in a little too much to the sides, and I don't really like that. So that was me taking manual control of the transmission again, and you can see it just does. It feels so much better when you're shifting it yourself. It's just a lot more eager to put its power down, and it feels like the engine may rev a little freer as well. I mean, I can't say for sure on that, but that's just kind of what it feels like. But to answer my question at the beginning of the video, is this one still a good buy on the used car market? I say absolutely. I mean, if you're just looking for a car, you can't beat this. I mean, this is simple, cheap, and reliable transportation. And for people who aren't driving enthusiasts like myself, you can't ask for much more than that. It's just a really easy car to live with, plenty of storage, engine. I know it has the power, but I think its biggest downfall is the 4-speed auto, because it just sucks the power out of it. There's not enough gears to allow it to constantly stay in its power band. It's just, if the 4-speed auto were fixed, I think this would be a very, very good little car. But with the dated materials in here and the dated drivetrain technology, it's just not quite up to par. I would say an 8th gen Civic probably beat this one, but I think this one, in terms of reliability, comes second in class. So that about concludes our tour and test drive of this 2010 Toyota Corolla S. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for watching.